Calling the City of South Lebanon regular council meeting to order July 1st, 2025 at 6:00 p.m.
Allen,
Present.
Carmack, Combs, Fetter,
Present.
Harrison,
Present.
Spicer.
Present.
Thank you. Could you all please rise for the prayer and the pledge? Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day and the blessings you have bestowed on South Lebanon and our citizens. Help us to strengthen our community. Let us work together for the good of our community. Let the work we do be acceptable in your sight. Let us be honest and transparent and kind in all we do in representing the city. Even in disagreement, Lord, let us be respectful and work through these situations. Help us to be wise with the use of tax dollars our citizens pay to the city. Help us each day to improve the quality of life in South Lebanon. We give thanks for all of our staff as they go about their work. Protect them as they work in this heat. Protect our first responders. Please keep them safe as they go about their missions. Bless their families. We ask for the protection of our nation and prayer for our leaders. Thank you for this nation you have given to us. Let us be wise and protect the freedoms so many have laid their lives down for. There is no greater love than this, that a man lay down his life for his friend. In your holy name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for being here this evening. And we have a special guest this evening, our Sheriff Barry Riley from the Warren County Sheriff's Office.
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
This is awesome for me to be here with you all. I know that a tradition that our sheriff's office has always held true to is making the rounds to our service areas, and that's not going to stop. It's important for me to have this relationship with you all. It is important for us to work together because it is challenging times for sure. But what I wanted to do tonight is give you just a little overview of where the sheriff's office has come in 6 months. First and foremost, I am not Larry Sims. There is no way to fill those shoes. He is the most popular sheriff our office has ever seen, our county has ever seen. So I'm just gonna do me. And hopefully that won't fall short of anybody's expectations. When I took office, one of the things that I do want to talk about that is critical. When I took office, we were, our staffing was as low as it ever has been. And if you know anything about law enforcement today, which you all do, you watch the news, you know how very difficult it is to recruit into the profession. And I am so proud to say, when I give you this number, you're going to be a little bit floored. In 6 months, we have hired 30 individuals. We did that through incredible hard work. We did that through taking advantage of opportunities that maybe we hadn't taken advantage of before. Basically, we had to rebrand a little bit to entice these people to come here. We don't want to be just a training ground for people to come, get their certification, and then go on to the next thing. We want that destination agency. Some of the things on this flyer that I passed out to you is really just kind of an overview of some of the things that I have personally put into motion in the first 6 months in office. If you don't know, we do have a much stronger social media presence. And yes, I did bring back snow level emergencies. We do have a new website, and internally we have a newsletter that we do to keep that family feel going. I did change our mission statement. Our mission statement for us was very nostalgic, very law enforcement written. I personally needed to simplify it. And I needed to simplify it so it just rolled right off of everybody's tongue. That's what I think a mission statement should be. That mission statement was conceived on my mower up here on Shawhan Road. We seek out those in need and strive to help. If my crew is doing just those things right there, they're meeting my expectations. We have added 2 new canines to the jail. Big responsibility that jail is. And until you have looked at a parent and said that your child has passed away in our jail because of a drug overdose, you don't get to weigh in on this. That's my job. So anything that we can do to prevent contraband coming into our facility, or if it gets in there, we can sniff it out. That is awesome. And these canines are this close to being cut loose on different shifts. Something that you'll see as well is that every one of our deputy sheriffs assigned to road patrol now has body cams. Body cams are not new technology. They are, again, just a philosophical difference between the Sheriff Sims and I. I believe that video is everywhere. I would rather own it myself than somebody else own it. So these body cams for me help in greater prosecution, greater training, protection of our men and women. And so far, Sergeant Adams, I think they have paid off exponentially already. That was actually day 1 purchase. I did do some rebranding, as you guys are aware, and on the back of our cruisers, I did put our country's great motto on there. It means a little more to me than maybe most, but our country's great motto of "In God We Trust" is now on the back of our cruisers, and will stay there as long as I'm in office. And I'm very proud of that. So one quick thing that I do want to brief you up on is that our 499 bed maximum security jail has bed space, and we have a zero tolerance mindset. So if you come into our county and try to thieve from us, try to victimize our citizens, you go to jail. No more citation writing, no more summonses, you go to jail. And our bookends and bookouts in that jail since we opened it have increased by over 1,000 people per year. That's a pretty incredible increase. Now, our average daily population has hovered around that 300 mark, but the amount of people that have went through the process and went into the jail has increased by over 1,000 people. And then finally, I'll just say this, I did restructure the command staff a little bit, and I chose not to have a chief deputy. I have reallocated that salary to create other positions within the office. If I told you that we, the Warren County Sheriff's Office, have not added a deputy sheriff to the main office since 2014, you would probably be shocked, right? Well, that's a fact. We had not hired a deputy sheriff to the main office since 2014. Now, we had contract extensions, whether it be in Deerfield or for SROs, or even in our great city here in South Lebanon. But to the general fund, county fund dollars, we added no deputy sheriffs for over 10 years. We all know what this county has done in 10 years. So being proactive in this, I did request additional deputy sheriffs and additional funding from the commissioners, and they graciously allowed me to hire 2 deputy sheriffs this past year. I was worried that we wouldn't be able to fill them because you just can't find cops out there. And I'm proud to say that we filled way earlier than I expected. So I'm very, very happy of that. I'm very proud of the relationship that we have, continue to have. The resources that you all are able to draw on in a time of need from our office is just incredible. Sergeant Adams has rock solid, and he loves this job and he loves this city. So I hope you guys continue to press him for information, and some of the statistics that he's going to provide tonight are something that I have been pushing hard for on giving us a very solid base to make informed decisions. Some of our statistical data in the past has fell short, and we are going to correct that. So does anybody have any questions of me? It's a pleasure. I'm going to hang out back here and watch you all in action for a little bit, if that's all right.
Sometime maybe we could do a tour of the new facility.
You want that, especially that jail, to see it's no fluff. It's cinder block, steel, and gray. but it is an incredible operation, a big operation. And, you know, statutorily, my job as the sheriff is the jail and the courts. Everything else, we just kind of throw on of being extra in these contract cars and such. But those are two big responsibilities for me. And the most litigious is the jail. So I want you to see it.
Well, we'll get together and get our council members and have a field trip one day and
I
we'll
would
get it
love
on
it.
the schedule with you.
I'd love it.
Okay, that sounds great.
Thank you,
Thank you
folks.
for everything you do.
Lucky to do it.
Now we're going to, thank you, Sheriff Riley. Now we're going to have a public hearing about our fiscal year 2026 tax budget. That's what's next on the agenda. Open a public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor Burke. I'll just make a few comments and then we'll open it to the floor for questions. But tonight's public hearing is for the city's tax budget for fiscal year 2026. Municipalities, we are required to pass the annual tax budget by July 15th and submit that information to the county auditor for their approval. The purpose of the tax budget is for the city and the county to determine if our current tax rates that are levied for property taxes, along with our other sources of revenue, if they're sufficient to meet our operating expenses. Currently, our tax rate is 1.3 mils, which results in about $287,000 in property tax for our general fund. With that said, our main source of revenue, as everyone knows, is in our general fund is our city municipal income tax, our 1% tax rate, which we are estimating at about 2.675 million for collections in 2026. And this amount is conservative with about a 4% increase over our amount that we collected in 2024. Currently, just to kind of give you guys a recap of where we are with this current year as far as tax collections, right now we're looking at a 15% increase over where we were last year at this time. So we're feeling pretty positive that we will end this year up at the end of the year versus how we did last year. We ended down about 4% last year. Really, the tax budget, once it's passed by council, that gets submitted to the county. We wait for them to certify our rates back, and then we can start the process of actually budgeting for our appropriations, our operating and our capital expenses. The tax budget really uses the 2025 budget and then looks for any known increases or decreases that we're aware of. So, for example, some of the grants that we received in 25 or that we're receiving in 25, we know we're not receiving those for next year. So those are not included in the tax budget for 26. With that said, in front of you, you guys should have a tax budget summary, where we are looking at about 9.8 million in revenue estimated for next year, along with regular operating expenses somewhere around 10.7 million, and ending our year with about 15.1 in our fund balance. So pretty consistent with where we are for the 2025 budget. Are there any questions that anyone may have over the tax budget or what its purpose is, or anything I can answer? Okay.
Did you maybe want to explain what how our personal income tax is broken down? As far as the 1% and.
As
No, I meant-
as far as how it's broken down, as far as funding and what fund it goes into,
No,
or what
it's-
expenses
it's-
is used for?
As far as if you work someplace else.
Oh,
those kinds
sure,
of
sure,
things.
sure. So the 1% tax rate is on if you are an employee within the city, you pay the full 1% to the city of South Lebanon. So anyone who works at any of the businesses in the community, they have a 1% income tax withheld from their paycheck, and it's remitted to the city monthly or quarterly. Our community itself is mostly made up of residents. They bear the burden of the tax burden compared to what we take in from businesses. So What we allow right now currently is a 0.5% credit. So if you live in South Lebanon, say you work in Mason and you're paying their tax, you get a 0.5% credit on your South Lebanon income tax. So then you only owe us a 0.5%. I know sometimes taxes are kind of confusing, but that is how, where we currently, that's how the tax rate is structured. And I would say,
Retiree.
sure,
retirement income.
or sure, if you want to go, as far as who's not applicable to the actual tax rate, your retirement income does not apply. So those individuals do not pay income tax. They're required to file, but they do not have to pay on retirement income. And you can reference our website for a list of everything that is taxable or non-taxable. And it's a requirement for everybody who's 18 and over to pay or to file and pay income tax to the city. But currently, I'd say 75% at least of our tax revenue is coming from your residents. It's not coming from your businesses. So just to kind of give you an idea of what makes up our tax base, it's really focused on your residents. That's it.
Any other questions from anybody? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing for the 2026 tax budget. Now I will open the floor to the public if there's any questions or concerns. It's okay, you're amongst friends.
State your
I
name
live
and
on-
address.
Debbie Glass, I live at 411 Mary Lane. I'm concerned about all the traffic that I'm getting on Mary Lane. A lot of traffic, a lot of people going really, really fast. We have children. Coming over the hill and
Yeah, so they're coming down the hill, turning on Mary Lane, or?
they're like coming down the hill real quick and they're coming down Mary Lane. Well, both ways. Really fast. And Charlotte, she's 8, and we've got grandkids. Corinne, she's 9 or 10, and there's kids on our street. And
Is there a reason? Has something changed in that dynamic area?
yeah, we have
Recently?
construction.
So just yesterday and today?
We have construction on Mora Road.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It started yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So, oh, I see. Okay.
So basically, we had to keep working with the fire department as part of the Morrow Road project. We had to keep an access to that. I think we've discussed it with Sergeant Adams, and I think we'll be addressing that. It's been 2 days, and I think we see what the results are, what's going to happen. And I think we'll work with Sergeant Adams to make sure that that's addressed.
I took pictures, but I mean,
Yeah.
what happened, it's just like if you come down the hill, there's
Yeah.
3 barriers. And then you can get through to come
Yeah.
down Mary Lane, but then past Mary Lane, there's 2 barriers where they're just like driving on through. Then I asked to talk to the construction people and they said they just won't go in.
Yeah, so we'll address that. I appreciate you coming in, and we'll work on that.
I mean, I know they have to come down Mary Lane, but can we get signs or, no,
We'll
We
work
can
on.
work on this, absolutely. And
Yeah.
we'll,
somebody's gonna get hurt.
did you want
Yeah.
to say anything, Sergeant Adams, about?
All right, so we were kind of anticipating this a little bit. This morning I'd asked my guys on downtime when they're not going to calls, try to hit that area. Same thing with the evening. We also have the traffic detail that we've done last summer and again this summer. And I'm going to put something out to them when they're on to target that area. We do have some signs coming in, speed signs, to be able to put up and track. That's going to take a little bit of time to get those set up once everything's together. So once I can get those, and I know the closures for 90 days, does that sound about right? So we will have, I'll get those in place probably here within the next few weeks, where I can.
Where's everybody supposed to go? Are they supposed to come down Maryland or are they supposed to drive all the way around?
That's more of a.
It's twofold. So the tractor trailer traffic, the larger vehicles, trucks are to go the other route, which goes up Shawhan. Yeah, the smaller ones, residential type vehicles go through Mary Lane. And again, like Jerry said, the whole purpose was to allow us safety access to each one of the streets. We actually had to phase that project in two separate phases to allow that access. So while for the first 90 days, actually probably first 60 days, we'll have the detours that are set now. Then they'll rotate up to Shawhan, which will then reroute the detour also.
Access to what, the police officers and the
Fire and EMS and Sheriff's Department.
Maybe Fly Avenue anyway. Just curious. They would come to Mar Road, would they?
It depends on where they're at the time of the response that they need to respond. I mean, they're all over the city. And we do have mutual aid also. So we could really get somebody from Union Township responding and so on. But we'll definitely address it. We've been working with the contractors that's out there to try to get proper signage. I started that probably a couple of weeks ago, and there's been some delays in that response too.
I talked to the construction guys and they said, you know, people like driving around it.
The Saul guys. Yeah, I mentioned that to the project manager. She wasn't very responsive, so we're trying to deal with that issue too. Because she wasn't on site. When I went out there today, the regular foreman wasn't on site either, just the Saul guys, and I actually saw vehicles coming around. I told them we expect it to be detoured so that nobody comes to there. We don't want to see their people hurt, the same as they don't, but there's some challenges for us that we're going to try to work through quickly.
So-
They're just not addressing it now.
But when I was out there taking pictures, they all decided to turn around and go back and get it.
Yeah, Debbie, I appreciate we'll take care of this.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks.
so much. Is there anyone else? Hearing none, I'm closing the floor to the public and we'll move on with new business. Emergency Resolution 2025-24 indicating municipal services to certain real property proposed to be annexed to the city of South Lebanon from Hamilton Township, known as the Oder Thornton Area Annexation. Is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, a motion and a second to waive the two reading rule.
Lisa Fetter, I make the motion to waive the two reading rule.
Linda, on a second.
Allen,
Yay.
Fetter,
Yay.
Harrison,
Yay.
Spicer.
Yay.
A motion and a second to adopt Emergency Resolution 2025-4 by title only.
Linda, I make a motion to adopt by title only.
Lisa Fetter, I second.
Allen,
Yay.
Fetter,
Yay.
Harrison,
Yay.
Spicer.
Yay.
Thank you. Motion carries. Emergency Resolution 2025-25 regarding incompatible land use and zoning buffer with respect to property proposed to be annexed to the city of South Lebanon from adjacent land remaining in Hamilton Township, known as the Oder Thornton Area Annexation. Is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, a motion and a second to waive the two reading rule.
Linda Allen, I make a motion to waive the two reading rule.
Lisa, I second.
Allen,
Yay.
Better,
Yay.
Harrison. Yay. Spicer.
Yay.
A motion and a second to adopt Emergency Resolution 2025-25 by title only.
Linda Allen, I make a motion, title only.
Lisa, I'll second.
Allen,
Yay.
Better,
Yay.
Harrison. Yay. Spicer.
Yay.
Motion carries. Emergency Resolution 2025-26, authorizing the Director of Finance to submit the interim tax budget for fiscal year 2026 to the Warren County Auditor. A motion and a second to waive the two reading rule. Is there any discussion? I'm sorry. Hearing none, a motion and a second to waive the two reading rule.
Lisa Fetter, I'll make a motion to waive the two reading rule.
Marianne Harrison, make a second. Allen,
Yay.
Better,
Yay.
Harrison. Yay. Spicer.
Yay.
And a motion and a second to adopt Emergency Resolution 2025-26 by title only.
Lisa Fetter, I'll make the motion.
Linda Allen, I second.
Allen,
Yay.
Better,
Yay.
Harrison. Yay. Spicer.
Yay.
Motion carries. Emergency Resolution 2025-27, authorizing the Mayor and Director of Finance to execute a development agreement for the arbors at Grandin Pond Phase 2 subdivision with Grandin Road Development LLC. Is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, a motion and a second to waive the two reading rule.
Lisa Fetter, I make the motion.
Linda Allen, second.
Allen,
Yay.
Better,
Yay.
Harrison. Yay. Spicer.
Yay.
A motion and a second to adopt Emergency Resolution 2025-27 by title only.
Linda Allen, I make a motion to adopt.
Lisa Fetter, I'll second.
Allen,
Yay.
Better,
Yay.
Harrison. Yay. Spicer.
Yay.
Motion carries. Emergency Resolution 2025-28, authorizing the mayor and clerk of council to execute a record plat for the arbors at Grandin Pond Phase 2 subdivision. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, a motion to and second to waive the two reading rule.
Linda Allen, I make a motion to waive.
Lisa, I second.
Allen,
Yay.
Better,
Yay.
Harrison. Yay. Spicer.
Yay.
A motion and a second to adopt Emergency Resolution 2025-28 by title only.
Lisa Fetter, I'll make the motion.
Linda Allen, second.
Allen,
Yay.
Better,
Yay.
Harrison. Yay. Spicer.
Yay.
Motion carries. Emergency Resolution 2025-29, authorizing the mayor and the director of finance to execute addendum number 3 with McGill Smith Puncheon Incorporated for engineering and design services related to the River Corridor Sanitary Sewer Extension Project. Are there any questions or discussion?
I do have a question. Did we have a roundabout date when that might even start?
So the plans are to get this finalized and bid out and then close the loan with the EPA and hopefully early fall get a contract.
I know we've been kind of at that river corridor since we purchased the land from Charity, what, 4 or 5 years ago? Something like that?
Yeah, this whole project's been 7 years in the making, I think. So it's a matter of persistence.
A motion and a second to waive the 2 reading rule.
Linda, and I make a motion to waive the rules.
Lisa, I second.
Allen.
Yay.
Better,
Yay.
Harrison. Yay. Spicer.
Yay.
A motion and a second to adopt Emergency Resolution 2025-29 by title only.
Linda, and I make a motion.
Lisa Fetter, I'll second.
Allen.
Yay.
Better,
Yay.
Harrison. Yay. Spicer.
Yay.
Motion carries. Thank you. I just want to say, we're not crazy about doing all this by emergency, but these are time-sensitive matters that have to get to the commissioners and everything, and I want to thank you. So, we need a motion to approve the invoices.
Mary Ann Harrison make a motion to approve the invoices.
And a
Lin-
second, I'm sorry.
Linda, Allen, second.
Allen.
Yay.
Better,
Yay.
Harrison. Yay. Spicer.
Yay.
Approval of minute meetings for the regular meeting June 17th, 2025, if there are no corrections or additions.
Linda, Allen, I make a motion to accept.
Lisa, I second.
Allen.
Yay.
Better,
Yay.
Harrison. Yay. Spicer.
Yay.
Motion carries. Oh, communications from all of us. As you can tell, we've been really busy. And there's still lots of things coming on board. So, check our website out. We're working on that, to improve that website. And, there are meetings, I think, next week about that.
Tomorrow, too.
Oh, tomorrow too. I wanted to say that I'll let Lisa talk about the 4th of July, but I think we're all ready. Parade lineup, and I want to thank Union Township for this, is at 1:00 p.m. and we'll be kicking it off at 2. Harry and I went to the ribbon cutting for arbors at Grandin. Is that the first and second phase? This next one's the third, right?
This
Yeah.
one is second, so they're.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Really nice new homes. I mean, they are very nice. I would like to have one to downsize. Last week I had the absolute honor to marry my second couple last week. It was very impromptu, but I enjoyed it. It was a busy day. We had, I think, a 12-hour day that day, and we even fit that. And so it was a good afternoon. Like I said, we have lots of meeting, and we are working on many different projects. And I'll let all the department heads talk about those projects because they're the ones that do the work and they need the credit. So let's begin with our Director of Finance, Tina.
Thank you, Mayor Burke. Our 2024 annual financial report, the unaudited version is now complete and it will be out on our website tomorrow. That was required to be submitted by June 30th. So those are our financial statements where we go from a cash basis, which is how we operate day to day, and we convert to GAAP, which is general accepted accounting principles. So by doing our annual report in that manner, we're able to get potentially more funding because we show a better picture of what the city's overall liabilities are and their receivables are at year end. It's not just day-to-day cash basis. It's what's our long-term obligations for debt, for compensated absences, which is people's leave time, what things get paid out. So all of the liabilities that the city incurs or has out in the future, it takes that snapshot so that people can get a better financial picture of how we stand at year end. So that'll be out there posted on the website tomorrow. It's still being audited by the auditors, but because we've turned in the report to the Auditor State's Office, we can go ahead and get that posted. Hopefully the audit itself will be finished up here in the next couple of months and we'll come back with any comments that the auditors have. The next thing I have in front of you guys, I passed out the 26 operating budget, capital and operating budget calendar. So just to kind of give you an idea of the time frame for getting the budget prepared for 2026. Tonight being the first thing, well, actually the first thing was June 26th when we met with the Finance Committee to review the tax budget. And going from there is the tax budget itself tonight. The month of July the administrative staff will be working to take a look at our staffing and personnel costs for 2026, whether or not that should include additional positions or things like that. And then the month of August, or even prior to the beginning of August, I would like the committees to begin to meet and kind of discuss among yourselves as far as any projects that are high priority for the Parks and Recs Department, for the Public Works Streets, our Public Utilities committees. It's a good thing to have you guys kind of meet and hash out the things that you think are high priority and things that maybe are more of a wish list. And then we'll report that information back to administrative staff and we'll compile a list so that then we can bring it to the Finance Committee and then to Council to kind of look at the list of all capital projects. As we know in the years past, there's always a much bigger list than there is funding, but it helps to get everybody's input in and so that we know what we have and what we can do with the current tax dollars that we have. So I'll probably look at meeting with the Finance Committee sometime in October, having some workshops with Council on the actual draft of the budget in November, and then December will be when Council will approve it. Last year, this was kind of our plan also, but we had some personnel changes right there towards the end of the year, and we weren't able to get the budget passed in December. So this year, that is a main goal of mine, assuming everybody stays status quo, that we will get that budget passed in 25 and start the year off instead of going into February and March, where we're already in the first quarter of the year before it gets approved. That's all I have.
Thank you. Our City Administrator, Jerry Haddix.
Yeah, just a couple things real quick. So Morrow Road project got started. It's gonna be inconvenient for a little while, but it's a big project, and we had to break it down into sections so that even though we're just going to do the reconstruction between Mary Ellen and Mary Lane, it's going to be repaved all the way up to Shawhan at the end of the project. So that won't create another road closure. So we've got a lot of roads that are going to get paved. We just found out that the county is going to fund us for the Hobart Avenue repaving project. So that's more money we'll have for our not out of the street fund. So that's good. So we got 4th of July is coming up. We've got all the things in place, so we'll see how it goes. Barry and the guys have been working hard, get everything ready for it. So we look forward to hopefully some good weather and not too hot. Next Thursday night is the public hearing for the they're calling it the Marvella at Rivers Bend PUD. This is at the entrance to the Rivers Bend Golf Course, submitted by NVR, also known as Ryan Homes. So there'll be a public hearing by the Planning Commission. After they make a recommendation, the PUD process, there'll be a council public hearing as well. So that's kind of it. Yep. So I just hope everybody's good 4th of July. Come on out and watch the fireworks. And that one party band's playing. They're the main act, and Mike Stacy is the opening act, and we got DJ Johnny Luca. And Bell Cantrell is going to be singing the national anthem. Yep. So 6 o'clock Friday night.
So you get to take a little break between the parade and the festival. So our Public Works Director, Harry Hobart.
Nothing to report for this meeting. I'm deferring it to the next meeting because I just got all my updates from the foremans. But you'll have a large list at the next meeting.
We've got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Harry. And thank our Public Works staff for everything that they do out there. I hope they're keeping cool. Okay. Chase Kirby, our law director.
Evening, everybody. I got 2 items to address. First, I represented the village or the city in a Board of Revision hearing with the county auditor's office. I mentioned that last meeting. This is about property at 706 Corwin Nixon Boulevard. And thanks to Mr. Haddix and the mayor coming with me, but we prevailed in that we had a revised value of that property from $441,010 to $15,000. So that'll save the city some money. There was opposition to that. The school district appeared with their counsel. They opposed that. They do have the right to appeal this decision within 30 days of the decision, which was rendered on June 23rd. So if they do, I'll just take all appropriate action with it. So the second item is we have finalized the terms of the Joshua's Place lease agreement. So we'll get signatures on that tonight. And so that is finalized. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you for all your great work. Yeah,
What was the savings on that tax? Was it like 10,000 a year? Somewhere.
Yeah, approximately almost 11,000 actually. So we weren't able to exempt the property, which typically if a municipality owns property and it's used for municipal purposes, it can be exempt from tax, the property tax. However, we started this process probably about 2 or 3 years ago, once we acquired the property. And it was come to find out that the property is actually located in a TIF district, which made it difficult to be able to do that. So we went this route with Chase, as far as, well, I think we started it with Andrew as far as going through the Board of Revision and at least lowering the value. So with that 15,000, I mean, we're talking a couple $100 that versus the 11,000. So
yes, it was great work. Sergeant Adams.
Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? Well, all right. A couple things so far before I get into the sheet that I passed out with you with statistics. We started the trapping detail. It's been up and running. The full month was last month in June. Started at the end of May. Everything that I've seen so far, it's been very busy for everyone that's working it, and it appears the court has been very busy keeping up with it. So I think we're doing what we set out to do, and we're accomplishing our goals by attacking the traffic problems. Some of the biggest one in the downtown area, stop signs are one of the worst, and then speeding. So that's been most of the information that I've received back from the deputies and their sheets. Secondly, tonight, if you take a look at the handout that was supplied to you here, I'm going to quickly go over a brief summary of everything, the statistics starting from January 1st to June 30th, which was yesterday. As you can see, we have been busy. The Sheriff's Office has a total calls of 21,545 calls. South Lebanon has been 2,416 of those calls in the 6-month period. During this time, as you can see through the stats here, 50% of the calls come from Deerfield Township. The other 50% are the other areas of the Sheriff's Office. South Lebanon is 11% of that 2,416. I actually think that's pretty impressive, and I'm going to kind of break it down and do like a comparative for you here when I was looking at the numbers today. When we look at calls, Deerfield Township has about half, is a little over 10,000 calls, closer to 11,000. When I take the amount of road deputies that Deerfield Township has and figure out roughly the average of calls handled by each deputy in this period, each deputy over there averages out to about 598 calls. When I look at my deputies at the 11% that we're showing, the 2,416 calls, we are handling, the deputies are handling right around 448 calls in that same period. So very comparative, getting pretty close to Deerfield Township. And with considering the population we are compared to they are, it's my opinion that my guys work very hard, and they're very busy. If you want to look into it a little bit further, a lot of times, and again, they get all the props. I just help out when they need it every once in a while. Give me something to do when they're doing hard work. Yet in supervisors there, Deerfield drops down to about 483 calls during that time per road patrol deputy and supervisor, and we only drop down to about 402. So as we get closer and closer and busier, that just kind of tells you what's happening here in the area. As you can see, in the last 6 months, our top amount of calls, when you start dividing on what type of calls we're going to, the top 5 traffic stops were on the top ones. So I'm very happy with that. My guys on downtime and with the traffic detail, we're out there trying to put a dent in any type of issues with the growth that we've experienced here in the city, and also everything that we get coming to the shopping area. So they're doing a great job. All I can do is be there to help them. They do all the work. You guys happen to have any questions over the information here, or any questions for me of anything that's going on or coming up?
Did you want to say anything about the National Night Out?
Yes. So National Night Out, we spoke prior to the council meeting at the events committee meeting, and everything is lined up and ready to go. We're making the final finishing touches. That's going to be August 5th. It's going to be right across the street here at Veterans Park, 15 North High Street, I believe is the address. It's going to be from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. We're going to have a little cookout going on there with the city. You might find one of the deputies out there manning the grill. We'll see. We're gonna borrow the fire department's grill. They may fight us, but we'll see. And then we're gonna have plenty of things going on with a drone demo, canine demo. There's a lot of different organizations that are gonna come. Warren County Community Services, they're gonna bring their mobile unit. So it'll be a good time, good evening. I will forward back out the flyer so that way we can start, maybe if you don't mind, putting it up on social media. And since 4th of July is kind of almost here and done with that part, so I would appreciate that.
Yes.
All right.
Anything else? Thank you for everything you all do for us.
Well, and it's funny because the sheriff and I were talking about that before the meeting. We do, so we actually do handle more. I was just keeping specific to the city for this, but yeah. Yeah, if you would like, I can definitely, next month, or actually the next meeting, I'll be here at the next meeting. I should have those, and we can go over that as a total, what the South Lebanon Union Township car deputies do. Well, that's probably a conversation for a different time. I don't want to stress anybody out right now.
You don't stress us out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sergeant Adams. Councilmember Spicer,
Nothing to report.
Councilmember Feder,
4th of July. I think it's all set up. We have a band, we have a stage, we have a tent. We couldn't get a bouncy house, unfortunately, this year. The insurance wouldn't allow it, so we'll work on that for next year. But everything is in place, and hopefully everyone comes and has a nice night. Festival starts at 6 p.m. Band starts at 7, and it should be fun.
there's games for the kids.
Oh yeah, we have a lot of games for the little ones, and we have prizes for them. It's free. It doesn't cost anything to them. We just want them to have something to do while they wait for the fireworks. And we also have 5 food trucks showing up. Everyone's a little bit different, so we don't have any duplicates. So there'll be a lot of choices for food as well. So thank you.
And the concession stand's gonna be open.
Oh yeah, the concession stand with River Dogs, they'll have that open too, as far as like the things they normally serve there. So we have a lot of food, a lot of games, and good music and a band and fireworks to end it. So should be good. And Harry and Jerry, thank you so much for everything you've done. It's really appreciative.
And the sheriff's department for controlling all the traffic
Yes.
that there's gonna be. And I just want to say, everybody keep, if you can, Sharon Carmack and Brenda Combs in your prayers. That's why they're not here tonight. Councilmember Harrison.
I don't have anything to add because everybody hit everything, but of course, you give us the best over here. We, really appreciate your sacrifice and standing up. We feel safe with your department. And thank you guys, everybody, as I said, I think we've hit it all, but it doesn't go unnoticed. I brag on you every chance I get. So, that's about, and I hope to see everybody the 4th of July.
Councilmember Allen.
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Okay, if no one has anything else for the good of the order, I'm calling for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Linda, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?